So, first, please give rise to bodhicitta. So yesterday most people don't have the book and haven't been following the book, but nevertheless, yesterday we discussed briefly the view as laid out in the book, The Great Secret of Mind. This morning we discussed the meditation, and now we're going to discuss the conduct and also the talk about the seven-line prayer.
탐지 강다도 제가 유나 예수님 제가 강다나 제가 탐지게 당시랑으로도 땅었다 라시랑으로도 땅었나 저바시고 따와차가래 따와다 등지 제바들아 천진쇼네 상보다 년바 대화당 동안 그거 천진쇼는 저바시고 제바야하고 자꾸 말에 딜레이드 강다 딜레이드 기시가 됐다.
So, conduct is not, as I said before, conduct is not something separate from the view, not separate from the meditation. In the Great Perfection, the view, meditation, and conduct are not separate things. So, all phenomena, when one has realized that all phenomena are beyond concept, beyond extremes, and one rests in equanimity in that state, that is the state of meditative equipoise. When one rises from that state of meditative equipoise, then we have what we call post-meditation. So we talk about meditative equipoise and post-meditation. Post-meditation is the certainty. Post-meditation refers to the certainty that has been attained through experience in meditative equipoise. So certainty, whether it be certainty of a conceptual understanding, experience, or realization. There are different types of post-meditation. The kind of heedless post-meditation. This refers really just to the experience of ordinary people who have no practice, no awareness, just engaging heedlessly and without awareness in the various sense perceptions. Without a second thought. What we're talking about here with post-meditation is engaging one's body, speech, and mind in a way that's in accord with meditative equipoise, the meditative equipoise of noble beings, which is to say the state that's free of concept, free of construct, beyond extremes. So attuning all of one's actions of body, speech, and mind with that state. That then is what we mean by conduct here. And as I've said, conduct is not something that's separate from the view, nor separate from the meditation. When we talk about view, meditation, and conduct at this level in the Great Perfection, the view is something that's actually beyond viewing, something beyond seeing. Meditation is beyond meditation. The meditation is beyond meditation, beyond an act of, beyond something to be meditated on. Likewise, the conduct is actually beyond action. So, conduct at this level, the Great Perfection conduct, is a type of conduct or action that is without concepts, without any kind of reference or concept, beyond extremes. That being the case, how to engage in such a conduct, right? A conduct that is beyond concepts and reference points. Well, we need a conduct that is spontaneous liberation, spontaneous recognition, spontaneous arising, spontaneous liberation. Yeah, spontaneous liberation. This is to say that all afflictions and movements of the mind are liberated upon arising. I mentioned this earlier in the earlier session, how the conduct of the Great Perfection is comprised of three stages. We can say three stages of liberation. So first of all, liberating thoughts and afflictions as they arise in the way that you come to recognize someone you know on the street, so recognizing an acquaintance. Secondly, as you become more habituated, then afflictions or arisings are liberated automatically on their own, like a snake untying itself. And thirdly, the level at which arising causes neither benefit nor harm, like a thief entering an empty house. There's nothing to steal. So this is what we need, spontaneous arising, spontaneous liberation, or we could say simultaneous arising and liberation. The view and meditation of the Great Perfection are beyond attachment, beyond fixation, beyond reification. So our conduct needs to accord with the view and meditation. If the view and meditation are beyond concept, but the conduct itself is entangled with grasping, with reification, then that's an erroneous conduct. That is not the Great Perfection conduct. So if we find ourselves falling into concepts and distinctions such as differentiating one thing as good, another as bad, thinking we need to adopt one thing and abandon another, and so on, that is not the Great Perfection conduct. So our conduct, like I said, that conduct needs to be related to, connected to meditation, and actually depending on how we apply ourselves, depending on how well we train in conduct, depending on the quality of our conduct, then our meditation itself will kind of improve or flourish accordingly. So this being the case, our conduct, because of its connection with meditation, needs to be in accord with the Great Perfection. These days there are many people who claim to have, or say they've trained in meditation, but they don't find meditation brings them any benefit really, any benefit in terms of their daily experience, their actual kind of lived life. A lot of people seem to be saying this. I think either people who say that maybe they actually haven't really engaged in meditation, haven't really been practicing, or maybe they have been practicing, but the problem is that they haven't been applying it themselves in conduct, and therefore they haven't experienced much benefit or improvement. Because if we don't connect our meditation with our conduct, meaning our activities outside of meditative equipoise, then there's really not going to be that much benefit actually. It's a bit like, say you have an instrument or say a weapon, right? You have a sword or a gun. That's all very well, but if you fail to use that weapon when the enemy comes in front of you and you need to defend yourself, what use is the weapon? What use is your possession of the weapon, right? So with meditation and conduct, we need to actually apply our meditation, apply ourselves when different circumstances and conditions arise. And that pertains to conduct. So if we don't train also in conduct, our meditation training is not really going to be beneficial. It's not going to be useful. So these days, as I've said, many people, especially in Western societies and also places like Taiwan, they say, I've practiced meditation, but it just doesn't help me. Like in my daily life, it just doesn't help me. So I think this comes down to, there are two options, two possibilities. Either the person saying this they might think they've been training in meditation, but they haven't really, because, to clarify that, I've said, so meditation and conduct need to be connected. The meditation and conduct need to be connected. But actually first of all, we need to develop a degree of meditation practice, right? We can't really apply ourselves in conduct without developing a degree of stability in meditation. If you don't have any meditation practice, how can you mix your meditation practice with your conduct, with your activities, right? So there might be some people who just haven't actually developed their meditation practice enough to be able to apply it in conduct, in action. That's one possibility. There are also others who might have developed their meditation practice, but they have failed to apply it in conduct, and that's why they're not seeing any improvement. If we do actually apply our meditation practice in daily life, in action, so in the 4 types of action of sitting, moving about, and so on, in the various situations and contexts we find ourselves, we really apply our practice as we encounter different experiences, then we can actually really enhance our practice. We can kind of discover new levels of experience, new aspects of experience, and enhance and improve our practice through conduct. For instance, in our Namkha Kyongson tradition, we have the practice of going to a volatile place, meaning like an isolated place, and practicing chö, giving one's body. So people will go on their own to an isolated place, we could say like a volatile place, and practice severance by visualizing giving their body away, These days, of course, this practice is done like in public or in people's private houses, but it's not really that effective. One really needs to do this kind of practice in an isolated, volatile place, like a scary place, Because the root of samsara is self-clinging, right? Ego clinging. And we need to check for ourselves, do we have self-clinging or not? What state is our self-clinging in? And to check that out, then we need to go to such a volatile place to practice giving our body away. And then it's possible that we can sever this root of samsara, self-clinging, and gain a experience, real experience and taste of freedom from self-clinging, like the feeling that, okay, even if an animal comes along and eats me and kills and eats me right now, I have no regret. I have no regret and no fear. Not only that, but the practitioner will even find themselves rejoicing, thinking, I've taken so many rebirths from in the past up till now, and all those lives have been of no benefit. Now, if I have the opportunity to give my body as sustenance to another being, how wonderful that I have the opportunity to, engage in that act of generosity to actually be of benefit for once to someone else. So, if we practice in this way, we really can gain those kinds of experience.
Yeah, Maranzo Palpum Babalu Kamar, the Garabdoji Kamasana, Gumbashi and Bromach, something like the Simitas, thing to Kamata, Bom Japshe, only Tawai and Bom Yabu Japshe, Roll Machine as a Shepherd, Roll Machine, Gumbashi and Bromashi, something like the thing in you can around the Gom the Jashi, the Shepherd that thing around to the Tema Tuaina, then go by Javina, a question Chugma, Gumbashi, something like a Simitas, something like Yamsha and the Lord Bambuji, the young, the name Yamsha Yazi down the Young, Singoniki, Yamon Params and by K, the Sharams and by K, coming as a championship. Did you know around the Kangong to the Secretary? Just so you know what Hamjit, running all the round project, go about the Mason, one to know. The Nichi Yamsha, the Middle Katsuji Day in Sana Young, after the young comes from Koran, what they depend on, Chiro, what the Pilalas or what the something in the look at from Mamboji, the Nation was there tonight. Young lad, young, you remember up like a young, something like the Shiva, he become a Gubati, Gubat to say, Trova the package of Gubashi and Troma, something like a civil secretary, Gubat the Kali Shara in the shadow of the secretary, Bobra, more indignation and non-digging picture about the which is Tabu down, take a bit the Chabata, by here, worship. Part of the worship on us in the Omnia, Sanatija. Tama, the Nico Kadon, Nakumaji, Manto Kaya, and never the shake last of that, Lutan and Trunsu is what shake over it. The Casu, Trunsu with Naran, so get me, Mayato song, in effect, is Gal, I got in the Kanton to Kumaji, but also Yamshata, gentlemen, Chipa, Charco, do you build the king, Yamshata, Tatin, the child. 공부하고 기회가 이렇게 탈도 좁아도 탈선서 뭔가도 직발이 뭔가 탈신가서 나와도 직발이 통지야 탈도 그게 또 내셔도 되겠어.
Guru Rinpoche said, if you have the view and you have meditation, but you fail to liberate, if you fail to liberate through conduct, then you can end up just like a deity in meditative absorption. Loosely translated, Guru Rinpoche said that. This means you might have the view and you might have the meditation, the good view and good meditation. But if you don't liberate through conduct, meaning if you don't mingle or apply your view and meditation to conduct, then the view and meditation are not going to be very effective. They're not going to do their work. And you can end up, say, in the state of like a god absorbed in a meditative state. There are gods who, through the power of their meditation training, enter like a state of absorption for maybe extremely long period of time. They're in this state of meditative absorption. But because they haven't actually liberated themselves, liberated the root, then eventually when that absorption kind of dissipates and they arise from it, then they'll just be back where they started. Again, coarse afflictions of attachment, aversion and ignorance arise, and under the sway of those afflictions they take rebirth in samsara and keep on wandering. So it's really vital that we are able to liberate, to free our afflictions of attachment, aversion, ignorance, and so on. Liberation is really important. Otherwise, just like I said, we can train in meditation and maybe enter a state of meditative absorption like one of these gods for maybe an extremely long period of time, but eventually that state will dissipate, and when we come out of that state, we'll just be back where we started. Coarse emotions, which will then propel us into samsara, and we'll keep on wandering. So whatever arises, we need to be able to liberate it. Whatever affliction, whatever thought arises, we need to train in liberating that. So this is what the conduct is about, liberating thoughts and emotions as they arise. We do this, it's taught in, we can do this in 3 stages. So as I explained, first of all, we start out by recognizing emotions as they arise. Just like in the way that you recognize someone you know on the street, right? You recognize the emotion and then liberate, and then it's liberated subsequently. If we keep on training persistently, we can then kind of improve and reach the next level of liberation, where as thoughts and emotions arise, they are liberated naturally, just like a snake naturally untying its body. And if we keep on training and habituating ourselves, we can reach the 3rd stage of liberation, or 3rd mode of liberation, which is said to be like a thief entering an empty house. So at this point, whether thoughts arise or not, they cause no benefit and no harm. If we keep on practicing and training, it is very possible we can reach this state, this level where whatever thoughts arise, they are beyond benefit and harm, just like a thief entering an empty house. At this point then, there'll be no further distinction between meditative equipoise and post-meditation. Those will become inseparable, or there will be no distinction. At this point, view, meditation, and conduct will not be separate things. They will be inseparable.
law to Kala, Dama Parcella, this are Parcel on the Buchu to my Marasa subject, Parcel on the Buchu to my established. There was Lamatic love, that partition Sari, the party country on Hako, that Duki Parcella, children cannot do, but party country on the wrong subject. What that would you say to change over the Catholic? Tangata Hamavona, and a party on to drinking as soon and losing the party on the do. Party country, soup condition, young women, Kari number Kariona, Hamaboreka, Satoshi, some cutting set, Tangata, Pajamas, chickens, and then do about the young from some of the damaging dead misuse of some young you into the dead rest.
So our conduct needs to be the spontaneous liberation or simultaneous liberation, meaning whatever thought, whatever affliction arises, it is simultaneously liberated. Simultaneous liberation basically means being without attachment, beyond attachment. Just like, for instance, writing something on water. If you write something on water, just as soon as you've written it, it starts to dissolve, right? It starts to disappear. So whatever arises, no attachment. The arising is just released and therefore dissipates and dissolves. We can talk about different types of liberation, spontaneous liberation, liberation through recognition, and so on and so forth. 3 types of liberation, 5 types of liberation. In short, though, when we say liberation, we're talking about being free of attachment, without attachment. This is liberation. This is what we need. Because without liberation, without liberating arisings, then even if our view and meditation are sound, actually no matter how our view and meditation are, they're not going to really be effective. They're not going to be useful if we don't also, if we fail to liberate whatever arises. So now I'm going to tell you a story connected with this. Everyone seems pretty sleepy and dull, so this story hopefully will wake everyone up a bit. This story is in the Chuchi, meaning the severance instructions. So the story goes that there was a practitioner called Surya Benza, so maybe that means the Vajra of the sun. He was a very good practitioner, diligent, sincere, a renunciant. He'd cast aside his home and homeland and worldly activities and gone off to the mountains and was very devoted and diligent in practice. It is said, there's a Tibetan saying that profound Dharma brings profound Maras. So it is the case that the more diligent practitioners often encounter more obstacles and more potential confusion. That is the case until a degree of stability in practice is attained. Diligent practitioners are that bit more vulnerable to obstacles. So anyway, this practitioner, Surya Benza, he had cast aside all worldly activities. He'd become a renunciant and gone off to the mountains, found a good cave, settled in the cave and was disengaged intensely in practice. He'd been staying in this cave practicing for a long time. And then one day, one of the Mahasiddha gets Luhupa, the Mahasiddha Luhupa came. And he said, "Hey, Surya Benza, you're a good practitioner. You're doing well, but I need to tell you that an obstacle is coming your way. I don't know what form this obstacle is going to take, but an obstacle." So Lahupa said, "Hey, Surya Benza, I need to tell you that today I overheard some demons talking, and they were making a plan to make obstacles for you. So I don't know what kind of obstacle they're going to create, but an obstacle is coming your way. So be prepared. Be prepared and don't fall under the sway of whatever it is. You need to recognize the obstacle when it comes and not fall for it." And Surya Benza said, "Okay, thank you so much, Mahasiddha Lahupa. Now that you've forewarned me, I will be on guard and I will not fall prey to the obstacle. If you hadn't forewarned me, I would have fallen for it, right? But now you've forewarned me, so I'll I'll be sure to avoid it. He thanked the Mahasiddha, and then he went back to his practice, entered a strict retreat, practicing the deity and meditating. Yes. So there are four maras. When we say mara, we mean demon, right? So there are 4 types of demons taught in the severance instructions. The first is the demon of conceit. The demon of conceit basically means self-clinging, the sense of I, self-identity. In the vehicle of characteristics, this is called ego-clinging, self-clinging, right? So this is the first, the demon of conceit. We then have the demon of physical harm. So this could be like wild animals hurting you physically, or humans attacking you, or someone like suing you or making problems for you. Also things like floods and environmental things. Then we have immaterial demons, like miraculous displays and visions and trickery. They don't have like material, they're not physical things, but immaterial things that cause you problems. The fourth of the 4 demons is the demon of the divine sun. What this means is basically drawing one into a state of delusion, luring one into a state of delusion through different types of pleasure. So the pleasure of wealth and comfort and fame and status.
do young them tissue to begin a harbor. Young nothing but most into the student young participate the young but in Mariga. Then you have to do that. Barton needs you without Kibu, so you call now truth. And make it keep put on the other cat or simple as you put on any interesting thing you can eat. Surely participate, not a child, you have to marry, can you budget did those legislators and Maranzana Parceti, Hapo using Parceti. Hapo using Parceti for Dangelo Yamea, you are a Queen Yamenti, Musin, the participant of Mareta, no participation to work on, called Kibus, Katashibus, the music neighbor, the wood, the Kibu on Zeoda Yapu, Luena, Minta, Jutan, Tamna, into Luena. Guru to the participate. You come back into Sunta, not an ace and do it in a hybrid do it in a co. Called the Titanjo, I think the participation that I'm in church of the Ella. Then very good participate you in a concert. The hybrid to the data place, then hybrid to get that, participate you in a church at the co. A co in a participate.
So these four demons, they all got together and they discussed, okay, how can we make a problem for this practitioner? What kind of obstacles should we send his way? So first of all, the demon of physical obstacles, they said, I'll get him, I'll send like thunder down on near him, I'll make him sick, I'll hurt him physically, and that will undo him. And the other demon said, no, he's not going to fall for that. He's a practitioner. He's not going to fall for that. He's a practitioner of severance. He has, the skillful means to be able to turn difficult circumstances into conducive circumstances. So, those kinds of obstacles aren't going to, they're not going to trouble him. That's not going to be enough. The demon of immaterial obstacles then said, let me, have my way with him. I'll create all these different visions, beautiful visions, terrible visions, trigger all sorts of different thoughts in him, pleasant thoughts, unpleasant thoughts. I'll just, spin him into a state of confusion. But then so that was his plan. But then the demon of conceit said, no, that's not going to fool him. He's a practitioner, right? If you make him feel so many different things, so many contradictory different things, sort of one after the other, he'll recognize that it's just an experience. It's just like it's just an obstacle, just a spiritual experience. He's not going to fall for it. If you make him experience happiness one moment and then suffering and so on, he'll recognize that these are just experiences and he'll cut through them. So then the demon of conceit said, your plan isn't going to work, but let me have a go. I'll make his sense of self, his conceit, really inflated. I'll create all sorts of ideas of like self and other, attachment and aversion in him. I'll trigger all these, I'll trigger and inflate his sense of self, and I'll undo him in that way. But then they all said, he's a practitioner. He's a practitioner of selflessness. He's not going to fall for that, he's not going to be undone like that. So then finally the demon of divine sun said, look, I will destroy him. I will harm him. I can do it. Let me lure him and deceive him. I'll create all sorts of experiences for him, experiences of good reputation, renown, wealth and comfort. I'll just lure him my way with those experiences, and in that way I'll be sure to undo him. I'll fool him for sure. And all of the others said, okay, your plan's pretty good. They all discussed and agreed and made this plan. That's so much.
Milon 상이 쇼바니 교주바도 돼요. 교주바도 되네. 다 켜라 빼미게 돼. 무릎 먹고 지켜라 말이요. 했다. 상이니 되게 무릎 먹으라 이거래. 야, 근데 무릎 뒤에 그런 게 되네. 딱 담도 나와 있나? 이 켜라 빼미게 되네. 지금 다 지금 친구 교주 주바도네. 냠도 공도 들어와서 이게 관심 부지 결의를 얘기가 다 상이 쇼바 결의네. 켜라 무릎 뒤에 돕지요. 이 야세도 나왔대. 거기는 빼야. 내는 미람 야고. 그러나 이담 미람 매서. 그 강만데 다 뭐네기 지금 다 지금 저거 통들면은 아마 저것도 인사 뒤에 그냥 빨리 기샤도 강만데 야고 좀 상태 거가나 다 모두 간지 도구이나 아사미. 대코직 다선 나왔더라. 양아래 도시야. 가지 이거 간지 다 도피 인바지 거직 나머지 그런 딱 가오시고 봐. 오늘 나중에 약속지는 뒤 통은 가오디가 들어왔다. 뒤쪽으로 맞네. 뒤 화이기 롱딩들 훨씬 그다 화이기 롱딩 그런 데일 때는요. 그냥 한민 살로서 뒤민 데일 들어와서 나도 뭐가 야도 그런 드레스기요. 이거가 셴바시고서 하나 셴바시고나 누그레스 이게 알아도 소담들 한민 살로서 뒤민 데일 들어와 된다 되게 진지들하고 라오스 같은 나도 또 누구 나한테 여러 이미 다 살을 줄때 거든요. 다른 데도 그러나 대국백에 딱 뒤편에 약속해. 딱 기시마시 딱 담고 거다. 맞지 용돈 그것도 애테스먼트 다케도 인지게 애테스먼트 차. 때때시비 kan 때때 무대다. 딱 하나이나 산샤바 필로 빼요 이렇게. 바로 전에 니마샤 사르는데 분미지길래 분미지길래. 분미지길래 분미 빼요. 그거 사이기 분미지 계열지 알래요. 그거 사이기 그거 딱 이거 대학교 수시만 비밀 분미지길래 그거 가봐 이제 그거 차사 당에 배계를 앞에 대는 식으로 개별 참여하고 되고 뭐 배는 비하고 되지. 오늘 지금 드린다 간다고도 나 상황 수직 너무 많은데 드린 거네기 니들에게 그냥 분명히 제가 약속씩 내어서 오늘 대한 직대로 상부지 인사리야 그거들 사비스.
So the demons together made this plan, and then they set off to the practitioner and was sort of lurking around trying to find their moment. But this was a pretty a good practitioner, and they really struggled for a while to find like an opening, a way to actually get at him. Then the demon thought, okay, I know what I'll do. I will create a dream. I'll enter his dreams. So the demon manifested in his dream, in the practitioner's dream, as his Yidam deity. And taking the form of the Yidam deity, the demon said, "Oh, my noble son, in the morning you shall receive the cities. The accomplishments are coming your way. If you should accept these cities, then you'll receive multiple benefits. Your enlightened activities will be swiftly accomplished, and so on and so forth." So the Yidam deity, or rather the demon in the form of the Yidam deity, gave the practitioner this prophecy of accomplishment. When the practitioner woke up from this dream, he thought, wow, what a wonderful dream. I actually have just had a vision of my deity, and it really seems like now I'm going to attain the siddhis. So the practitioner reacted with hope and fear, right? He was pleased by the dream. He fell into hope and fear. A good practitioner, really, when that kind of delight arises, they should liberate it, right? They should be able to liberate that delight. But the practitioner fell into this delight, fell into the hope. The hope for what had been promised him. And so then, in this state, he kind of waited. He waited with expectation for the cities to come. At sunrise, a very beautiful girl appeared. Usually no one would come to see him in his retreat place, no one at all. This girl appeared carrying food and drink. She presented him with these things, and she made prostrations, and she said, "Oh, yogi, I have so much faith in you. These are my offerings for you." And the yogi thought, wow, this must be an auspicious circumstance. Usually no one comes to see me. This seems very auspicious.
day number. In the Concharan Tilla, the Shiki, and the Miki, the Georges are a Sibani. They love the Gama. Tapon in the how. Tapu Peshima children, Tashibati, Shambas again come to do the other Tarandi, Lobachi, whichever the machine was go. She did children in a Jabati Sons of Kansin Kandas and the Shambati Duke. She will be very sweet and so that they might come to the Young of the Padre of the Swan. Shamba can't even come to begin. The Jordan dig this one. 남독하고 뒤길에 줄이 뭐 버려서 남독 생긴데 줄이에서 그 생긴데 월라라지 고문 남아지 칼을 채워지 라팔 들으지는 요 말에 요다야 뒤에 나버려 제문이 이 샴바데 진바레에서 좀된 되게 돼서 디비지 파트를 무지개 그냥 송샤지 되니다 본모들가 그렇게 샴바신 거 뒤에서 딱 본모들 이제 주는 거 이게 샴바게 이 블랑가 들으면서 땡콩만에 샤바에 뭐 그냥 양쪽 레원 그래서 그 별로 단지 차별 대상 대신 이시기 증언이기 때문에 조금 살아있다면 되네 뭐라도 라는 거기 맞지마 인터넷 매매기 다 그냥 되고 또 스카에서 나가서 그냥 다 얘기 인터넷 또다 뭐도 디자인 다 매매 루트도 가서 대체되지 거니 사상도 술때 사상 술 제로도 되네 로카시 지금 걸바로 지금 만들고 때 보고 있지 얘기 되네 걸바차 되네 여기 되게 거랑 주의지고 살아요 걸리기 때문에 자와는 제로도 가와 되네 걸 참바때다 마차 되네 뭐기 기도만 보시 되네 고추에서 좀 말아샤 어제 율라 송신가 다다 또 년경 되네 백 이거 걸어놔서 참 됐어.
So this girl came to see him the next day, and then the next day again, and then for a fourth day, and so on. Each day she brought food with her and offered it to the yogi. She talked pleasantly to him, and he thought, wow, this is so wonderful. This is really great. Then he had another dream, or rather the demon kind of created another dream, and again manifested as the deity and said to the yogin, if you enter into union with this girl, then it'll be of great enhancement to your practice. This will be a great support for your realization of the wisdom of empty bliss. So, form a union with this girl. The girl, of course, was an emanation of the demon, right? When the yogi woke up, he was very pleased by that dream. So the yogi's attachment was growing and growing, right? The yogi's attachment was growing and growing. Rinpoche quoted some lines by Patrul Rinpoche, which, simply speaking, say that all attachment is the work of Mara, the work of demons. Likewise, Rinpoche quoted some lines from the scriptures, where Buddha Shakyamuni says that the real demon, the real Mara, is one's conceptual thoughts, one's thoughts, not an external being like with horns on its head, like the devil or something. The real demon is one's thoughts. So the yogi was becoming increasingly attached to the girl, who was an emanation of this demon. The following morning after the dream, when the girl came once more to visit him, he shared the dream with the girl. He said, we need to get together because our union is going to be a great support for my realization of empty bliss. And so they basically became a couple. They got together. Within a few years, they had one child, and then another child, several children, and the yogi found himself just in a totally samsaric situation. A family man with kids. Even if he thought about going back into retreat, he just wasn't able to. If he suggested it, his wife had lots of stuff to say about it. He needed to farm, to work, and that was where he found himself.
오, 네, 수혜 반들 다저 출사도가 쇼파지가 왕 송사도 한다래. 대비 수익이면 다냐 출사를 좀마다 믿음 받아겠다. 난 데레케면 다 부부당 다는 딱 거로 출직 들어서네. 배세 봐서 단 인간 잔들한 게 다시 잔 민도 그때니 그 문이 되셔. 딱 저는 걸어 차.
So he fell into just totally samsaric existence with friends and then enemies and conflicts and disputes and a lot of busyness and so on. Then the Mahasiddha Larupa again appeared on this yogi's doorstep and said, "Hey, my friend, Surya Benza, you've fallen for the demon's trick. Look at you, you've fallen for the demon's trick." And then the yogin realized what had happened, and he was just devastated. But what to do, he was, there was not much he could do. He was now had a wife and children in the situation he was in. Not much he could do about it. So Surya Benza was just left weeping.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Jake purchased
So such are the obstacles created by demons, created by Maras. They lure us, deceive us, create obstacles for us. So for practitioners, Lama Chenpoche Namato.
Lama Chenpoche Nare, Nyamne Yakwe Nare, Tawa Yakwe Nare, Pe, Migi Tong Chenpoche, Gucci Chenpoche, Pe Yakuchung Tona, Teni Mimang Sede, Acho Chawa Yakore, Kamata Yakola, Terla, Teni Gajutu Zuni, Teni Mitam Chawa Shara.
Even if you're, even if it's a lama, a good practitioner, a very good monk, or what have you, we can be lured, led astray by these demons, by the demon of status, of wealth, of comfort and pleasure, basically. Maybe you become very renowned, you end up, you develop a good reputation, you're very, a lot of people praise you, make offerings to you, you become wealthy and so on. And then we can fall prey to the demon of delight. That's If, to begin with, this practitioner had not been attached to the deity, right, when he'd had that first vision of the deity, if he'd not been attached to that deity, he would have avoided all of these obstacles. That's why when in the instructions on meditation it said one should not be attached even to Buddha, even to the deity, even to one's practice. Because attachment, no matter what the object, attachment brings us down. So now another story I've thought of, a more recent story. So if I teach other stuff, you guys seem a bit bored by it. If when I tell stories, you're all very enjoying. So of course the stories have meaning, right? That stories hold meaning, so I'm going to share another story. So So there was a great master called Mingyur Namkhe Dorje.
Dzogchen Monastery.
The Dzogchen Monastery is the fourth Dzogchen Rinpoche. Mingyur Namkhe Dorje is a incomparably accomplished master. He'd reached the fourth vision, the exhaustion of all phenomena in the intrinsic nature. He's a master who attained the rainbow body, who had unimpeded clairvoyance and powers, could travel through rock and display great miracles. Incredible Lama. Probably some of you have already heard about this great master. If you want to learn more, no doubt you can read about him on Google and in other places. Anyway, one day, Mingyur Namkhe Dorje, he was sitting in meditation. This master, he was just always engaged in practice, day and night. There was a demon in Derge, an area of, in an area called Derge. It was a very famous demon called Gokyong. People from Derge will have heard about this demon. It was a very powerful demon, not just any old spirit. He'd actually taken the lives of many lamas, very powerful. And one day he thought, well, I've managed to kill all these other lamas, so now I'm going to set my eyes on Mingyur Namkhe Dorje and see if I can get him too.
Mingyur Namkhe Dorje lakana teko thamje lakha garese teko Mingyur Namkhe Dorje kala Mingyur Namkhe Dorje indra je zopa chimi yamile shuti teko oni ta chan rang ni Mingyur Namkhe Dorje parje tsan chitu dwa khabar kana chi parje Mingyur Namkhe Dorje ngaram se che korta koi parje chisa le woji tsan mara ne ti mara ti kala teko samda ngam parje se kin tan do le yo ko akaram ta ha parje se kin shenda humma 아도 가하지 셴바게 차파게 디 차파게서 될 셴바게 쉬운 거 뭐, 셴바지 쉬던 거 말어. 근데 거기 이제 수다 뒤로 렉사 강화에 셴바게 그 지산 봐. 딱히 뭐 쉬고 있다는 게 제대로 산이랑 버지시 말아. 이 버지시 산 말아. 강원에 가고 그것도 딱히 뭐 거기 냠샤와 쉬대고 하고. 앞으로야 니 거기 보는 게만 최와지. 매기 냠내지 비대라. Any Kolan Mingyur Namkhe Dorje is forgotten a call and Google and come to say Mingyur Namkhe Dorje in dictated. Then I was going to happen. Mingyur Namkhe Dorje toggle back, toggle. Nima Gisela, Jesuitus. Then I could do that Mingyur Namkhe Dorje to forget Nimi Gisel, toggle Ingla, toggle Gitinega, Aranzo de Tegla, Ingla, Zuni, you do the harbor. Yeah, that is the same. Lamsang ko kung haji buru muji gomi di tingli nang ko to town ko.
Yang itu semua manusia.
Ingrid tingli ora. Ila aku hapores ta bondu ya o mungkin nanti saja Ingrid gom de do tingli gom do toggle ni to macam tak ora toggle gom di Ingrid gom do ko haponi. So lamsang ko pag do di kung gom do tingli na ko buru muji se. Jadi aku yang tu town.
So this demon Gokyong, he thought, well, if I can get Mingyur Namkhe Dorje, then I've really topped it. So Mingyur Namkhe Dorje was practicing. It was sitting in the practice of the great perfection. And this demon kept on trying to get at him, but he just couldn't, because this master is constantly in the state of great perfection practice. There's just no way for him to get in and attack him. Of course, obstacles come from our thoughts, right? From thoughts of attachment and desire. Those then lead to obstacles, right? But this master, because of his realization, he's totally free of attachment to form, sound, all of the perceptions. So really there was no way in for this demon, right? No way to make obstacles. So he was thinking, what can I do? Like, how am I going to get at him? This demon, Gokyong, he himself was a practitioner, so he kind of knew his stuff. And he saw Mingyur Namkhe Dorje sitting in meditation, and so what he did, the demon sat in front of him, also in meditation, watching him. And then he realized, Mingyur... Okay, so not in front of him, but next to him, like just sitting next to him, sort of looking in the same out in the same direction. And then he realized, oh, right, he's meditating on Tögal, which is like the highest level of Dzogchen meditation. So he's looking at the sun rays and meditating on the bindus of Tögal practice. The demon realized this, and he thought, right. He then immediately manifested as Guru Rinpoche in the center of the bindu that Mingyur Nanke Dorje was meditating on. So this demon manifests as Guru Rinpoche in the bindu that Mingyur Nanke Dorje is meditating on. Mingyur Nanke Dorje saw this Guru Rinpoche in the middle of the bindu. Of course, the demon thought, when he sees me as Guru Rinpoche in the tikla, he's going to be, impressed and react, right? Basically become attached. But Mingyur Nanke Dorje just didn't respond at all. He just sees Guru Rinpoche in the middle of the bindu. He just sits there. Because he has no attachment. His realization is vast as space. He's totally free of attachment. So no response, no reaction at all. Then after some time, Mingyur Nanke Dorje noticed that this form of Guru Rinpoche had no trident. Usually Guru Rinpoche has a trident or a katvanga, right? He thought, hey, this Guru Rinpoche has no trident. So then he shouted, "Pe!" And because he'd realized that, okay, this is not actually Guru Rinpoche, this is just the display of a demon, right? And so he shouted, "Pe!" And the demon was flung so far away, actually, to the other side of the ocean. And for 3 or 4 years after that, this demon was not to be seen anywhere in Tibet. Later on, when the demon did manage to return, the demon said, okay, make trouble for whoever you want, but steer clear of Mingyur Nanke Dorje. So this is a sign of being free of attachment, right? Mingyur Nanke Dorje was totally free of attachment, so he didn't fall under the sway of this demon. Instead, he realized that this was a display of a demon and expelled the demon. If the other practitioner, Surya Benza, from the previous story, if he'd realized that, recognized that the things he was encountering were the creation of a demon, he could have liberated them in the same way, right? And then in that way, he would have been able to avoid those obstacles and actually attain siddhi. But poor guy, he didn't know how to do that. If we can liberate thoughts in this way, then our practice is also enhanced. So with Mingyur Nanke Dorje, this actually improved and enhanced his meditation. Whereas Surya Benza the demon who manifested as a woman and so on, well, he fell under the sway of that and was led astray into samsara. Mingyur Nanke Doje, he's not even attached to Guru Rinpoche. Of course he's not going to get attached to a woman. So this is to say that our conduct needs to be free of attachment.
Queens na doing and Manhattan doing and that the meeting was almost all the quarter to us and the media we to say and the half was that look at it to say then to substitute for Yaku and all Koyapore as a half word. Tina since you get Tangunya Moke was a half give half and you want to enjoy it. Part of Mogo Shatan Margal Dosakena, Titi Rang the Rampo and a Drugi to Vashivan and the Motosa. Hamat and Nam of a book, I put it back to the Kandon of Pumajo. Come up with Kavega, Kandon, come up with Mary. Oh, it did a Nanto, Diane, but Nakayaka, Juna, the Jabatanji, Yandaba, and we can go to Jabayan Combatire. He Jabati, Gombata Chipare, Gombati, Jabati, Juda, and Tawada Chipare, the Tabun of every Jason, Butter with the Suman, I think, more on top of Jabat, Tachito, Jabba, Content, Topa Java, and Tower of Jabba, Chili, it did in Chicha.
Masheti Chibati Gombadang Chipo Chagre.
Tawatian, Jobatian, Gobachak, Jobatian, Tawachak, Tamita, Tabundi, Sidan the Toshak, the Chipa.
So our conduct, the conduct needs to be free of attachment, without attachment. How to go about this? Well, we can begin by, as I explained, with the first type of, we can begin by training like recognizing someone we know on the street. So this means when you, for instance, say you're walking through Queens or Manhattan or somewhere, and you're walking down the street, and from afar you see someone you know on the street. You see them walking along, and you realize, oh, that's so and so, and then because you've recognized them, then you can be aware, if they're not a very good person, then you can be careful, maybe you avoid them or something. If they're a good person, then you know that. So that's an example to say that we begin by recognizing thoughts when they arise, just like recognizing an acquaintance on the street. We recognize the thought, and through the strength of our recognition, then we don't fall under the sway of that thought. We don't fall under the sway of attachment, aversion, and so on. If we keep on practicing in that way, we can reach a further, greater level of familiarization where thoughts are liberated simultaneously. So as soon as a thought arises, it's liberated. Or as soon as a thought arises, we're able to liberate it, to release it. Just like a snake untying a knot in its body, right? So that's the second stage. And if we really keep on training persistently and training well, then we can reach the point where, no matter what thought arises, it brings no benefit, it brings no harm. The example to illustrate this is a thief entering an empty house. No benefit, no harm. At that point, then, one's conduct is totally beyond attachment, totally free of attachment, totally pure of attachment. This is the best type of conduct, the conduct that we need to reach. At this point, then, the conduct is not different from the view, the conduct is not different from the meditation. Right? As we've said, really meditation, the view, meditation, and conduct are not separate things. They're simply three different aspects of the very same thing. Just like the three words of the three phrases that strike the vital points that Patrul Rinpoche taught on. Introducing directly the state of Rigpa, deciding on one thing and one thing only, and then confidence directly in the liberation of rising thoughts. So these are just three aspects of the same thing, right? That's
Yeah, that is Jabat. That Jabat is a pen of which you that is more like a head on the machine to Jabat like that 11 and have you want to take around of here you can get the Jabat with the half. That Jabat, Tandasi, machine, but you go, you are there. 되네 따와도 그거 봤는데 야 맞다고 보니까 냠이하고 제는 지구랑 신슈기 잘하고 그래. 지구비 근데 저는 꿈마 숨마 통마 연대 마스 대시 실장아 개와시나 소를 되나 꿈마 얘네 소를 되시나 꾸순 얘네 소를 되시나 꾸지 주고 되냐지 얘네 이제 어디 그런 거 들어 그랬어. 디기 나다스에서 상게
kusum de tsurdina.
꾸지 주고 되냐지.
So, that's about conduct. Of course, there's so much more we could say about conduct, right? So much to say. In my book alone, I've written 30 or 40 pages about conduct. So those of you who are interested to know more, please read there. There'll be a lot more detail there for you. In short, our conduct needs to be free of attachment, beyond attachment. The view, meditation, and conduct should be connected. They must not be separated from one another. They must not be divorced. If we practice in this way, with view, meditation, and conduct hand in hand, then the fruition, the result, will naturally arise. The fruition that will arise will be the fruition of the 25 qualities of the 25 natural qualities of the 5 qualities of enlightened body, enlightened speech, enlightened mind, enlightened qualities, and enlightened activities. In short, that is the fruition. Those 25-fold qualities of fruition can be condensed into the 3 kayas, and the 3 kayas can be condensed into the single kaya, the Dhammakaya of the single bindu.
그래서 잠시 딱 라스 주 탑도 딱 구숨다 공나 딱 저기 지심이 있잖아요. 네 지나 가로야 되는 거라서 탈도상 제마토나야 내가 브랜딩 나가 지사가 되네. 상황을 했는데 남미는 생겨서 생각해줘. 이따 통람 딱 보고도 되네. 또 저런 추적 생긴 탐나다 통람 이거 디미들라 되네. 남미는 생겨. 유남이 이제 받았나요? 쌤 상계네 유상하게 원하면은 이제 상황을 근데 깔아봐도 약속 동작하고 되게 새로 왕도 이 체질 유지가 상기고 공도 되다 상황을 이제 자세는 장기스러운 데도 보면 사이와 사이와 봐도 이게 되게 랑치도 되네 그렇게 되게 자세는 이제 되는 요상 무슨 스페르트 남아 상기고 다른 데 남아 시기가 이제 딱 기술된 거랑 이제 또 생일 때 거기서 사다 보고 와서 가시라 나와서 이제 우리 이제 무슨 나가 시 또 같이 무슨 나가 시 사다 그랬더니 그래서 이제
제니 테팔라. 제니 테팔라. 제니 기테팔라.
제니 테팔라 사다 뭐 드랍도 거 같이 뭐 그게 다티 디디 사투도 나다 나랑 되나 이제 나가 시 사투도 그래 공부랑 상상게 맞도나 세리냐면 디지에 내가 또 다본 남들은 이제 또 상황 어떻게 해야 되는 거 그래서 여기 이거도 답답해요.
The ultimate fruition, the ultimate consummate fruition is the 3 kayas, or you'd say the 5 kayas, or the 25 qualities of the fruition. That is the consummate, ultimate fruition. But even if we don't attain that straight away, still temporarily, in the meantime, we can attain one of the 4 levels of Vidyadhara. So the first of these is the Vidyadhara of ripening. This is a stage of accomplishment where a stage of accomplishment that corresponds to the path of seeing. The last, after the last phase of the path of joining, and the beginning of the path of seeing. The Vidyadhara of ripening, at this point one is still ensnared by the physical body, but one's mind is enlightened. So one's mind is enlightened, though one's still constrained by the physical body. Then we can also attain the Vidyadhara of long life, of the Vidyadhara with mastery over life, which is a state where one has mastery over life and can extend one's lifespan sort of endlessly, and in that way attain enlightenment, full enlightenment in a single body and single lifetime. Then there's the Vidyadhara of the Great Seal, which corresponds to the 2nd to 10th Bodhisattva bhumis. And finally, the Vidyadhara, the spontaneously accomplished Vidyadhara, which is complete enlightenment. In the vehicle of characteristics, then the teachings, then we talk about the first to the 10 bhumis, right? In this context, we're talking about the 4 Vidyadhara levels.
Yeah. Ini tadi juga total kerja itu kan Tanda dengan dulu nalaya sebelum sudah jawab jawab sih. Tapi sebelum sudah jawab jadi tak tahu apa juga jawab.
So that was about how the way in which we attain the fruition. We've now we've discussed the view, meditation, conduct, and the fruition. And now I will turn to the 7-line supplication.
Yeah. Ini tak di sebelum sudah berjawab di kamera jelas na. Sebelum sudah segini ngah sudah ni jomjo hari. Di sebelum sudah segini madan hendak tanjiki. Ini Guru Rinpoche pun tak bercuma nak kau ya. Ini orang macam ini untuk dewan tinggi orang ni tu kan bosan kau cik ni. Tak mungkin kesenjin tapi tidak bawa dalam mau kesenjin. ini gitu Guru Rinpoche nasi macam sanjin dulu punya itu ini introvert cewek cewek ini orang kita lepas itu kita malam latih ini tempat ini orang mereka tu kan wasal kalau tu kuno umat yang soal nana posisi soal itu po ini soal ini kalau yang ini malam sampai sampai ini Guru Rinpoche tunggu ini kalau Guru Rinpoche tunggu ini kalau yang nak kalau jalan hoji ini jangan sampai kita tunggu lagi untuk coba rumah ini itu kalau kiki tu dah kiki lagi siapa tu nampak kita langsung berjata. Di masa ini orang itu ini Yesus ini Guru Rinpoche orang tu ini tujuh jalan ini tujuh kerja ini kalau yang ini jadi langsung ya, orang tinggi ini sudah suatu ini jom mari makan kandu tak tinggi ini kalau langsung disini tidak jujur. Ini tu kalau tak terjun jasa ini terjasa ya, terjasa nala yang sebelum suatu making ini tidak sama. Nanti nala sebelum suatu dia ini sebelum suatu sampai mikir ini jelas singkatan. Oh ya Guru Rinpoche tujuh lah yang sebelum suatu dah ayo maris.
The 7-line prayer is not a prayer that was composed by humans. It's not a human composition. Rather, it's the 7-line prayer is something that is the 7-line prayer is the natural utterance or spontaneous utterance of the Dakinis and female Buddhas. It's said that, or rather, it was the case that in the past. In the Western Buddha field of Sukhavati, the Buddha Amitabha, he emanated out, or the seeing that in order to, seeing that there was a need to manifest an emanation in order to tame and influence the beings suffering in the dark age, in the degenerate age, then Buddha Amitabha emanated a ray of white light. He emanated this ray of light into the lake Dhanakosha, the lake of milk Dhanakosha. And when this light ray struck the lake, then Guru Rinpoche spontaneously was born, spontaneously appeared. And at the same time, this 7-line prayer naturally resounded from space. So the 7-line prayer that reads, Hung in Ugin's land upon its northwest rim, on lotus, pistil, cup and stem, wondrous supreme mastery you found, and as the lotus born you are renowned. A ring of many dakinis encircles you, and in your footsteps practicing you, we follow you. To grant your blessings, come we pray. Guru Pema Siddhi Hung. So this just resounded spontaneously when Guru Rinpoche manifested. Later on as well, much later on when Guru Rinpoche was engaging in practice in the 8 charnel grounds, then the 7-line prayer also manifested spontaneously. So this is to say that this is not our human composition, but it's the self-arisen words of the Dakinis. There are also 108 great Tertons, treasure revealers in Tibet. Every single treasure revealer has revealed the 7-line prayer. So in this way, it's a prayer of inconceivable blessings. There really is no greater way to invoke the wisdom heart of Guru Rinpoche.
Devi Sanjit Nanda, Dati Sanjit Nam, Mao Sanjit Tamji Gitine, Dami Chile, Devi Sanjit Tamji, Guru Rinpoche Namdure, Dati Sanjit and Gitine, Sanjit Guru Rinpoche Namdure, Mao, Dusu Sanjit Yang, Guru Rinpoche Zotter. Hindi Kala, Sanjit Kusum Yang Guru Rinpoche Zotter, Guru Chukutan, Chuku Yang, Chuku Shin, Obama, and which was Chinese, Guru Rinpoche Kusum Yang. Mati di kanta sangi thamji gitne naranjo jujun buchi gitne naranjo soldu chema sangi kunji tuji chikti ba limit ni jeju peman ju sonja de kala jiri shi to ji ki soldu na ti sondo de sangi kunji tuji chikti ba ta sangi kun je de sangi thamje sara sangi kusum sangi sanjawa rina ne tusun sangi thamji tuji chikti sangi ting kun buchi re sene ne ta da jujun buchi jiri shi to ji I think the Lunjum Mongo Tango, Sik Mare, Ni Mare, Mongo Tango, Sanjay Tamji and Guru Chimba, then Tim Machi Gate and Tabin Jata Tanji and Guru Buchigate and Emperor Tuluada, Guru Buchigate, Jesus Sinjo, Machi Burk on Jane John, like Kawatan to Pasulas with Samjia, Mantua Guru Buchigate Truaya. They might indicate Lua Maiba Soya, Burk on Jane John, and number in Shawa catching with the Guru Buchigate Shaz, Lundin to Pick Lama, Halpern. It is Guru Rinpoche well at the Catholic was still somebody considered Power to Guru Rinpoche to give Molomki, one Chotin Sharon Kasham, Molom the Tobi, well of Howard to Katicha. Then I think Guru Rinpoche Koran gate in a touch and Chugula, Guru Rinpoche, the Pell Migit in a Chilipshibu, but Lunta, Ripata, 100 on that specialist.
The Buddhas, all the Buddhas of past, all the Buddhas of the present, and all the Buddhas of future times, all of them are actually manifestations of Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche is said to embody all Buddhas of past, present, and future. So all the Buddhas of the past are actually manifestations of Guru Rinpoche. Likewise, all the Buddhas of the present, and all the Buddhas of the future too are contained within Guru Rinpoche. Similarly, Guru Rinpoche embodies all 3 kayas of enlightenment. In Dhammakaya form, he is Buddha Amitabha. In Sambhogakaya form, Avalokiteshvara. In Namanakaya form, Guru Rinpoche. Jujun Rinpoche, the late Jujun Rinpoche, said, Guru Rinpoche is the embodiment of all Buddhas, meaning the Buddhas of the 3 kayas, the 5 Buddha families, Buddhas of past, present, and future. He is the undeceiving refuge and protector. There are countless other quotes, countless other lines in the scriptures that say exactly the same thing. The 108 great Tertons that appeared in Tibet, all of them were emanations of Guru Rinpoche. Likewise, they were all embraced by Guru Rinpoche. And actually, most masters in Tibet, Mipa Rinpoche explained that almost all the great masters in Tibet were in fact emanations of Guru Rinpoche. All those who accomplished great deeds and left great legacies in Tibet for the benefit of beings, all received visions of Guru Rinpoche. Almost all of them received visions of Guru Rinpoche, received his blessings. Such is the kindness that Guru Rinpoche, the kindness and legacy of Guru Rinpoche in Tibet is just, beyond thought. This comes from Guru Rinpoche's own enlightened compassion and wisdom, and also from specifically his aspirations that he made at the Jaronkashor Stupa, the Bojana Stupa. As a result of those, his own wisdom, compassion, and also these aspiration prayers, then he came to bring great blessings and benefit through the snowy land of Tibet.
so sambal ni do singi do tira do mini metal to ko dal ne ko ke ma to ko nyara ni go mambo are pe mi gi ni ma ta ma to na sa din na shin ji gi ne ga ram so ga sa chu me no gi juwa che ga ram america ya ka san pa ta ge tin ji me se kan pa ma ko be se ka le so so pe na ni ji indonesia ta 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 ga te so pe mi tsunami ge ni ka ga so so din na shin ge ne ba ge so na pe san gu ge ni ka ga so so 얘네 가시 사이드는 철봉 좀 보이잖아요. 그냥 타이공들은 때문에 강아지 모양도 딱 중식이 있는 바 먹고 나사 안 놀니 뭐만 고비스기 나자나니 밑 탐제로 되네. 밑 동차 말에 몸차 망고 어야 몸차 간혹 좀 알고 있지. 인상물들이 미시어. 어야 대모만 되네. 마생이가 그래서 밀링 가져야 따라 주의자가 되시. 주의만 이슈시 됐어요. 어떤 데나 신지 가는 속에 먹루자가 나시 고비기 뒤에서 되는 뭐시 딱 뒤나시 다른 남도 가져가서 용기요. 딱 뒤서 지금 딱 사진 잘 말해. 다른 뒤나시 뭐 올릴게. 딱 뒤서 탐지게 되는 거 몰라. 무릎을 거만 나가 매에서 송셔대. 등이님이 따라 투에서 나를 보내 거기 나가서 이제 철들다가 찍으셔. 뭔지 무릎을 투지때 바로 이마 시야로 되거나 뭐다 이마 껴를 되거나 무릎을 서로 가왔다는 강사 때이 때문에 그거 거기 공개 이제 철들다가 쳐서 빼면 좋아 있어. 이마 빼 줘버려 생도 님이고 왜디 뱀미기 그 세컨 찍라 이걸 누르 동안 순수 소주기 스피드를 그랬어요. 옛날에 비비스는 페이스북 애기데요. 파티 페이지가 나시죠. 모르는 지금 투지 특별히 뭐 되냐 봐. 어때요? 이는 나라도 서로 잡투가 있는 모르는 지금 투지 신분의 이유로 어제 진짜게 되네. 야, 대표님 비게 되네. 그 체님과 따와지가 순진님과 녀몽빈님과 어야 뒤에 신기님과 응애기 뒤에가 되네. 상기 신다라는 모르는 거지. 지갑시아요. 윤생 강아리서는 모르는 거지. 투지 또 상기 뒤징막 나 뒤비게 돼서 때밀란 내 당선단 뭐게 당 샤송 좀 봐봐. 야, 진짜 미스비케서 되는 사람 속에 항상 때미기 때문에 괜찮아요다. 당사다 막 내고다. 나라서 이스라엘이랑 그냥 한국이 강세서나 팔레스타인이 막 이제 가르치기도 있다. 이제 나라서 러시아랑 유크레인은 막 가져서 강복 가져지면 당선 어떤 진정이 되고 땅은 저불링 산도 땅에 뒤닝 마스게 파버도한테 영웅권님 마스게 그냥 밑에 거 이게 미세나 맞은 둘도 나시 미세나 맞은 드레나시 어야 딱 진정이 된다. 지금 빼셔서 되게 함께 약간 공조로 되게 라마 속에 소보차 라마 속에 빼야고 싶어 라마 속에 소보차 어때는 뭐냐 딱 한게 아마 있나요? 아마 그 부부세도 있어. 되게 비싸네 이거 좀 진짜세 되겠다. 뭐 아파세도 쓰겠다고. 따뜻한 페미케서 두셔. 찍도 미디어 되게 냐면 고음이야. 이 남한테 미디어 되게 진로 빼는 시키나. 이 전에 얘네들 여기 봤다. 당도 뒤닝 맞던데. 한게 아마들은 부부게 담세도 쓰겠고. 뒤다 뒤닝 먹고 뒤닝만 있다. 너무 많이 봐야겠다. 우가 아파서 해도 쓰겠다고. 어야. 뒤에 신지기 딱 막좀 천장 정도 딱 진짜니 뒤닝 받을 그 뒤에서 어디 되나 투징 플레이 유쇼디 그런 거지. 하나 인생에 샤실랑 샤야. 때문에 예봐. 뒤에 그만 가람 판정 그런 거 소라만 단거이나 되는 중식을 내가 내면서 그런 봐. 야, 약속 중도는 너 같은 게 시도가지. 용들이 일랍시다.
In one of Guru Rinpoche's own treasure teachings, Sambhalundrup, the prayer for the spontaneous accomplishment of wishes, Guru Rinpoche says, to paraphrase, Guru Rinpoche says, at the end of the degenerate age, so at the very end of the degenerate age when the degenerations really intensify, so when war and illness and the emotions just flood forth, war and conflict, natural disasters like recently, maybe last year in the US, one area, there were terrible fires in some areas, right, that caused so much destruction and suffering. In places like Nepal, like a few years ago, we had a terrible earthquake. There are often earthquakes in Nepal, and other places, some countries are prone to tsunamis or typhoons, these terrible natural disasters that cause so much damage. A few years back, we had the COVID pandemic, right, that killed goodness knows however many people, like many hundreds of thousands of people. Several decades ago, World War II, right, that killed millions. And and so many afflictions, the negative emotions, just so entrenched and so intense. Guru Rinpoche says in this prayer, during the intense, when the degenerate, at the end of the degenerate age, when the degenerations are this intense, the greatest preventative or the greatest protection is me, Guru Rinpoche. He says, I will travel to whoever supplicates me, whoever prays to me, I will travel to them on the rays of light at dawn and dusk. Meaning that when he says this, he means whoever prays to me, I will come to their side immediately. It's said, when he says dawn and dusk, he basically means I'll come straight away, because the sunlight at dawn and dusk is said to travel incredibly fast. I heard on BBC that the light at that time of day, sunlight travels at something like 36,000 kilometers a second. Yeah, that's very fast. So yeah, if we pray to Guru Rinpoche, his compassion and his activity is immediate, basically. It's so incredibly swift. In the degenerate age, there is really no Buddha of greater blessings and activity than Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche's no greater blessings or an activity than that of Guru Rinpoche. And these times, when we talk about the 5 degenerations, we're also talking about the degeneration of emotions, right? Emotions so coarse, so entrenched and gross. These emotions that trigger war and conflict, like just look at the war that's raging between Israel and Gaza, between Russia and Ukraine. The extent of destruction, how many buildings, not to mention lives, have been destroyed and flattened by those wars. People these days in wars, when they kill each other, they're killing each other like animals, like demons, ripping each other apart. Everything is just totally, the world is just full of so much perversion, like everything is just turned upside down. Even lamas, right, spiritual teachers, they should actually be conducting themselves properly and benevolently, but there are so many charlatan, perverse teachers. We hear about parents and children killing each other, mothers killing their own children, children killing their own fathers. It's just absurd to even think about such things. These days, through social media and stuff, we hear about all these things much more than we would have done in the past, right? So in these times, these degenerate times, which are filled with so much perverse suffering, then if we pray to Guru Rinpoche, we can pray to Guru Rinpoche, and his compassion, his activity will be swifter than anything else. So Guru Rinpoche himself declares this in his prayer.
Oh yeah, that's the way you come out in and also get in it. So the Yapot don't get nothing. Paje to Shigina Bashivata. Oh yeah, the thing you could set them but round sure, Lamson Dawata, and the French some
That being the case, if we can supplicate Guru Rinpoche using the 7-line prayer, there are enormous benefits. This can help to pacify the 4 elements, disturbances of the environment. It can help to prolong the lives of the teachers, and also help to turn our own minds to the Dharma. Enormous benefits. Likewise, if we want to pacify illness, to pacify conflict and war, there is no greater method than supplicating Guru Rinpoche.
Guru Rinpoche la dupta mango yore, ta Guru Rinpoche la sote japa mango yore, Guru Rinpoche la terdin jata la yang Guru Rinpoche la dupta jasa yore, tuki tuba samgi me chewa mango yore, Guru Rinpoche idam ngoni dupi yore, Guru Rinpoche lama ngoni dupta yore, tamira mango yore te, di nani ya tene dupta tamche ki nyingu di, tsikdin so zetres.
There are hundreds, literally hundreds of prayers to Guru Rinpoche, hundreds of different Guru Rinpoche sadhanas or practices, different manuals for accomplishing Guru Rinpoche's wisdom mind. Guru Rinpoche can be accomplished as a Yidam deity, as a guru. Each of the 108 Teretins has revealed different practices for Guru Rinpoche. But the essence and heart of all of these hundreds of practices of Guru Rinpoche is the 7-line supplication. If we were to explain the 7-line prayer, we could explain it on so many levels, on an outward level, inner level, secret level. If we explain the 7-line prayer according to the outer level, we can go through each of it word by word and explain each meaning of the prayer. If we explain it on an inner level, we can relate it to the generation stage and also the completion stage. If we explain it on a secret level, the unsurpassable secret level, we can relate it to the practices of cutting through and direct crossing, Trekje and Togal of the Great Perfection. So if you want to learn more about this, about these different layers of the prayer, then you can read Mipa Rinpoche's commentary, Mipa Rinpoche's commentary entitled White Lotus, an explanation of the 7-line prayer to Guru Pamasambhava.
Guru Rinpoche den shutuna tene mutu ki tom soba tam je tok tu sa re ten Guru Rinpoche ne tu je mumba chen se gen de shu de ti kan ngana to mi tha sa je mi to tin ji ki mi ro tu sa je yo ma re ten ma Guru Rinpoche kan de den ta wa re sa la tu kan ten ma ta ka to ro je ne cha na do tam je chi ja pe tam che me par ten ko mi tam ji de ta ba te ji ten Guru Rinpoche ro ten so wa ta ne se dun so den de na ten Guru Rinpoche ko so tenen zu zu to pe ong re se long den jo ten ko wa nam sa tam ji ki tin na shin se ne chi tam ba sham Then so what the friend is not getting that will hold you in terms of the market of the world and the show would be permanent to the court and single Guru Pema said the home and there you get in down the Guru Rinpoche to get them your own maybe one Guru Rinpoche pet. Then it's your own motive but I'm just so about the pump. Then you crown the Mansia Guru Nabasanji Tambala Chu, Kaship and Migi in the tower of what I'm getting Guru Rinpoche topic for the drug to the country.
How did the prayer come about? How did it appear in this world? Well, in the past in India, Buddhist panditas were entered into a debate with 500 non-Buddhist panditas, 500 non-Buddhist panditas, and the agreement was that whoever lost the debate would have to convert to the other's religion. So that was how it went. If you lost, if a Buddhist lost the debate with non-Buddhists, they would have to convert, and if non-Buddhists lost the debate, they would have to convert to Buddhism. So the Buddhists, they were really struggling with these 500 very learned non-Buddhist panditas, and they actually lost the debate. They lost the debate and were going to have to convert to another tradition. They were in a state of absolute anguish, what to do, how this cannot happen. They were at a total loss. That night, in the dreams of all of these panditas, they all had the same dream. they met dakinis that told them, what you need to do is you need to invite this outstanding yogin called Guru Rinpoche, invite him here, and he will be able to defeat these non-Buddhist panditas, and everything will be all right. So they all received this prophecy of the dakinis, but then they saw Guru Rinpoche was living in a charnel ground known as the Great Darkness, an absolutely terrifying place, the sort of place that humans, normal people, just can't go. So they said, well, Guru Rinpoche is, he's in this charnel ground, we can't get there. How can we invite him then, if we can't even get to where he is? And the dakinis said, arrange a throne, light incense, and pray. Pray to Guru Rinpoche, and in response, he will come. They then taught the 7-line prayer as the prayer to chant in invitation. And all of the Buddhist pundits did just as the dakinis prophesied. They set up a throne, they lit incense, and they chanted in unison the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche. And then invoked, entreated through his previous promises and pledges, Guru Rinpoche came out of his compassion, miraculously appeared, and then Guru Rinpoche defeated all the non-Buddhists, he defeated all the non-Buddhists. Most of the non-Buddhists, Guru Rinpoche then converted to Buddhism, and those who were very intractable and would not be converted, Guru Rinpoche then liberated with his compassion. That's all.
New York, New York, USA and America happen. We get American in New York, and then New York delivered. Then New York now Manhattan, then Tibet house, and then Tinashinchiki, getting around address Nashinchiki, Guru Rinpoche, Fusa come out working you the 20 years. Working you the Congress and some of the person needs actually working you. One girl with the jumble singing loss of a elephant and choppership and you get such a pleasure with that. When you get to make it, Sidangi, Mahayoga, Anu Yoga, some of the ship has under oh, yeah, they take it to Mary Parvata, Namjam Parvala, to Mary Mahayoga, Namjam Parva, Tilatini, Anu Yoga, Urging you Latin, Zavashimbo, oh, you can shape up with the regular Jew. The tea you soon on some of the church you soon on that she should origin you. Oh, yeah, oh. Origin is origin singing you. Take such a cover as an Lutan Shang Samla, Allah, Lujan Sam, the Dana Kosheti, origin you can look at Shang Samla, Dana Koshi training, so you think so. That bad test over the bad really talk about cannot the GPS establishment to let it would the origin you get some second day, and all the youth person.
So now we only have 15 minutes left, so I'm going to go quickly through the prayer and explain each line. So the opening syllable, Hong, is the seed syllable of Guru Rinpoche's wisdom mind. The next line, in Ugyen's land upon its northwest rim, is basically Guru Rinpoche's address. It's describing his birthplace, exactly where he was born. It's a bit like, if someone asks you where you're from, you say, so generally the country, right? So USA, North America, and then more specifically New York, then more specifically like Manhattan, and then or like whatever suburb we're in now, and then more specifically the building, Tibet House, right? It's a very specific address. So here, this line is basically we're describing the address of Guru Rinpoche's birthplace. In Ugyen's land is the land of Udayana, this incredibly sacred land where this secret mantra teachings spread, spread without comparison. Garab Dorje spread the teachings of secret mantra there, filled basically every atom of the land with the teachings of secret mantra. We have the teachings of Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Ati-yoga, the great perfection. The teachings of Mahayoga and Anu-yoga spread in specific charnel grounds, and the teachings of Ati-yoga, Dzogchen, they spread, spread and were destined to spread in the land of Udayana. So this is the most sacred land. So in general, Guru Rinpoche was born in Udayana. Where in Udayana? On the northwest rim. So the lake, Danakosha Lake, is in the northwest rim of Udayana. So in this way, this is like a really precise address, almost like, GPS address for Guru Rinpoche.
birth certificate not to go. They took the Kataki, and our case again. Guru Rinpoche Katachi Tungus. The Guru Rinpoche Tundan the country Tungus, Pema Tombolas, Metal Pema, the name Metal Pema Japam would not, and Pemo to shop it, then make it in a somewhat single down. The name Pay with the Mayan Matupa, Kuran Jori, but Turkey gets so good, didn't go to the Jig to my do, the Marcus Tombolas.
Then we have the second line. Actually, we call this 7-line prayer the prayer of 7 Vajra lines. The 7 Vajra lines refers to the fact that the word Vajra here has the connotation of unchanging, undeceiving. Vajra is said to be endowed with 7 qualities like unchanging, invincible, and so on. There's a lot we could say about that, but here when we say 7 Vajra lines, it basically means unchanging, undeceiving, primordial wisdom. So the second line here is describing how Guru Rinpoche was born. How was he born, in a hospital or where? Like on your birth certificate these days, you write down, which hospital you were born in and at what time, who were your parents. So this is what this line is describing. Guru Rinpoche was born on a lotus, pistil cup and stem. So from among hundreds of lotuses, the most excellent or perfect lotus, without relying on a father, on the condition and cause of a father and mother, he was born miraculously. The third line describes Guru Rinpoche's exalted qualities, his supreme qualities, the supreme qualities of his form, of his body. He's described as being wondrous, meaning just amazing, like beyond mind, beyond thought. His body is endowed with the 32 major marks and the 80 minor signs of enlightenment. His wisdom speech is endowed with 60 melodious qualities, so pleasing to hear that one can just never get enough of it. His wisdom mind, is endowed with the knowledge of the true nature of things and the knowledge of all things in their multiplicity. So such are the exalted qualities of Guru Rinpoche. That's
more my people to send a Sanji people. One of the problem to get to more. Yet, we get that ground in the family that you know that answer. That is the thing you cannot chop knees.
Supreme mastery you found. So supreme here refers to the state of enlightenment, the state of perfect awakening. Guru Rinpoche therefore has attained, or has, we could say, manifested or mastered this state of perfect awakening. He has attained the supreme accomplishment or supreme siddhi. We can talk about the common and uncommon siddhis, right? The common siddhis refer to attaining certain miraculous powers, and then the activities of pacifying, increasing, magnetizing, and subjugating. But then we have the uncommon. The uncommon siddhis means the attainment of perfect enlightenment. So here we're saying Guru Rinpoche has attained supreme mastery, attained or manifested perfect awakening.
Guru Sanji Tamjala also send it. Guru Muchi send the Miki Guru Buchi Chava Karesana, Chemusi, in Peman Juni, she has a talk. Peman Juni, Guru Buchi sent it. Peman Juni, she has a talk. Then starting Sala Suna, the Buchi Tamjala, Peman Juni, Yonsa talk. Yonsa talk, Peman Juni, Matan Guru Buchi, the 10 year. Oh, yeah, Guru Dorchi, Guru Singita, Guru Nima was a Guru Pemanjalo, Guru Deshan, Guru Provincial, then Guru Permasama was a Tata, get the Chema, Guru saying yes. Then Runguchin and Guru Buche, Kunai, Karma Kundam, Perma Kundam, Nathan, oh, yeah, the name Dito Tintal, Butter Tintal, then Tintal, Yawariga, Tintal. They pushed me down the Shabai and Chuku, Lungu, Chuku, to make a farm, Lungu Genesis, German to less than Talon. They did not seem to get work on thinking John at the Guru, which is Shabby Mata, what a shaky Mala, what a cigarette farm. Did not seem to get under part of Aranso. She doesn't get work motivated in a Pasanji and Tanto, and attending to give us Tangela, Guru, which you get an extra Chingila, what I Jesus, Tata, and you can get the beginning. Guru Buchi and then you can Guru Buchi saying about the Anthony. The Munjila Chapa. If you can that Chapa do Chicken Sentinel, Pemanjunicious of Charles, and you drop it in Pemanjunes.
Then we have, and as the lotus born you are renowned. So this line is states Guru Rinpoche's name. Each Buddha has a name, right? They're known by a certain name. So what's Guru Rinpoche's name? Well, Guru Rinpoche's name here is the lotus born, or Pema as the lotus born, you are renowned. You are renowned through the upper worlds, the lower worlds, the intermediate worlds. In all worlds, in all universes, you, Pema lotus born, you are renowned. In fact, Guru Rinpoche, so here Guru Rinpoche's name, the lotus born, is mentioned. But in fact, Guru Rinpoche has 8 different names. We talk about the 8 manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, right? And each of them has a different name. Rinpoche mentioned all of those 8 names. Likewise, in the Sambhogakaya Buddha fields, there are 5 different emanations of Guru Rinpoche, all with an individual name, like such and such Tujing Sal, such and such Tujing Sal, for the 5 Buddha families. Similarly, according to the 3 Kayas, then Guru Rinpoche is at the Dhammakaya level is Amitabha, Sambhogakaya level Avalokiteshvara, Namanakaya level Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche, he is renowned throughout the whole world. It's said that there's not a single patch of earth in Tibet that he did not bless and infuse with his blessings. So he is utterly renowned throughout the entire world, and the name the name with which he is renowned is the lotus-born Pema.
Oh yeah. Guru Rinpoche Kandur ki chiri kanda yurisana rosar kanda pao da kando sta pao kando kordo kando mambi korsa kordo kando mambi korsa ta di chirkan ke kando se metu korsa di kan Dindamare. The control again, the Guru Rinpoche La, any Lama Edam control. Then she was in Jutai, Chaduma Jutai, the neck control ma, the neck control ma, Nisujutai, Yusashi, oh yeah, then control Rinala. Nampala, Tinsok, in one as in Guru Rinpoche, in the Gala, court of control Mambi course, Guru Rinpoche, Chile, Guru Rinpoche, that two Chili, Chile, Sassananda, Guru Rinpoche, Chile, Rodensi, and Sananda. 다시 해서 뭐지는 구름 붙이게 되는 단디서로 알아서이나 틸리기 제목 틸레로 받치기 이제는 마다 칸도 단지 구름 붙이라 두숨 줄도 에코도 밑에 코르도 칸도 망고 거로서다 대대 구름 붙이게 되는 틸레다 구름 붙이게 잡아두게 대대로 딱대로 라마에 좀 칸도 숨어요 이 탐지해요 얘는 공부다 윤인주 라마 탐지야 상도 대대로 맛이 남자는 가시기 그걸 뭐지 분명히 때 가버려 분명히 뭐 카르트나 카르트나 분명히 뭐지 거려 약간씩 나는 배서야 그걸 뭐지 갖다가 그래도 내가 같이 들에 그걸 뭐지 스캔 같이 이시서가 되네 만다라와 에이슈케니 저 코르트 컨트롤 뭐지 그걸 뭐지라 분명히 같이 거려 되게 말해 집단이 이 칸로스 이게 돈다데 띵사부상으로 당에나 카스나 남카래 Rose and Nampal Purgin to the campus. Now the Nampal Purgin campus duty, color Rose, Sergola and campus. You do not Yana, Jana, and Nampal Purgin comes to the color Rola, Candosa. Indeed, but only the campus in the cars and cars, should be England. Should be England, cars, and I'm cutting drop to the travel and see the cars. Rose is to come up to the ship. You can shoot in the top of the campus. You can shoot in the top of the 공부다 연구가 나와서 이나신이 좀 진짜죠. 자가로 그 전방 주잖아. 너는 똑비기를 이제 탐제라. 칸로스는 민 되게 똑비기 칸로스. 오야다 데이터비기 똑비기 때문에 이 수교를 모르는 거지 때문에 친리기 저거 뭐 요인데 코도 칸로 망배고 직님은 자쪽 동동 추정 몸장만 보기 때문에 모르는 거지 때문에 친리기 저거 때문에 아기 모르는 거지 때문에 친리기 괜히
Then, the next line, the fifth line, reads, a ring of many dakinis encircles you. So this is describing the activity, the enlightened activity of Guru Rinpoche. We talk about dakas and dakinis, right? And a lot of people think that dakinis just means like a female. Dakinis basically means girls. So Guru Rinpoche is therefore encircled by lots of women. To his left and right and so on. This is actually not what dakinis means. Here when it says many dakinis encircles you, this refers to, actually includes gurus, yidams and dakinis. Dakinis of the 33 lands, the 24 valleys, dakinis of the 5 families and so on. Together with gurus and yidams, gurus of the 3 lines of transmission, the peaceful and wrathful deities, the peaceful and wrathful yidam deities, and so on, all gathered, a great mass of them all gathered, just like billowing clouds, all around Guru Rinpoche. These are, we can understand these dakinis to be the display of Guru Rinpoche's compassionate activity in a more, to use more ordinary language, less respectful but more ordinary language. We can just say they're basically like the helpers and the messengers, like the people who do Guru Rinpoche, who help perform Guru Rinpoche's activities. Some people say, oh, Guru Rinpoche, he's so fond of women, you know, he's always surrounded by women. He's got Yeshe Sogyal on one side, Manjarava on the other. And in this way, there are actually some people in Tibet who criticize Guru Rinpoche in this way. Because their understanding dakini is just to mean woman. What dakini means in Tibetan, the word is kandro, so it's made up of 2 syllables. Ka means actually space, and dro means like to fly, to go, meaning to fly. And in poetry, where a lot of poetic synonyms are used, often kandro, this word is used to refer to birds actually, because birds fly in the sky. But what the real or ultimate meaning of dakini, the real or ultimate level, ka in kandro is referring to the dharma dhatu, the basic space of phenomena, the state beyond all constructs, and dro means to realize or to have arrived at. So those who have realized dharma dhatu is our dakinis. This includes then all the Vidyadharas with realization, the Vidyadharas of the 3 lines of transmission, symbolic, the wisdom symbolic and oral lineages, the 25 heart disciples of Guru Rinpoche, and so on and so forth. These are the real ultimate dakinis that we're talking about. They help enact and perform the activities of Guru Rinpoche, and they surround Guru Rinpoche in hundreds and thousands. Another meaning of the word dakini here is that that dakini refers to the women in the land of Uddiyana, because in the land of Uddiyana it's said that by realizing the great perfection, all the women there were endowed with clairvoyance and higher perception, and they could fly in the sky.
Oh yes. We have the 6th line, and in your footsteps practicing we follow you. So this is to say that having recognized Guru Rinpoche's extraordinary qualities, then we decide to follow, to emulate, to accomplish Guru Rinpoche himself. When we say accomplish or practice you, we're talking about practicing or emulating the enlightened body, speech and mind of, in this case, Guru Rinpoche. When we talk about practice, or we could also translate this word as accomplish, there is so much to say actually. This word has so many layers. For instance, if we look at the Guigaba Tantra, then the word accomplish is explained by means of the fourfold approach and accomplishment, approach, close approach, accomplishment, great accomplishment, or outer, inner and secret accomplishment, and so on and so forth. We don't have time to get into any of that. Simply speaking, here when we say, in your footsteps we follow you, we're saying that Guru Rinpoche, I'm going to follow you and I'm going to practice and emulate your qualities of body, speech and mind. Whatever your body, speech and mind is like, I'm going to accomplish just that. I'm going to do that. Either we can do that through the generation and completion stages, or we can do that through the Trekche and Tugel practices of the great perfection. But either way, we are going to follow you and practice you. Then we have, how are we going to, and then we come to an explanation of how we pray. So how are we going to pray to or supplicate Guru Rinpoche? Well, we're going to do that with unwavering faith, with resolute, unwavering, unshaking faith. And express that faith with our body, speech and mind. So by making prostrations with our body, by reciting and calling out with our speech, and with a mind of devotion and pure perception.
Then we have the 7th line, to grant your blessings, come, we pray. So here when we're saying blessings, to grant your blessings, we're talking about granting your blessings on my mind, right? Bless my mind stream. Our mind stream that is filled with the poisons of attachment, aversion, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. Our body, speech, and mind, all three. Our body, speech, mind that are just loaded full of non-virtue, of shortcomings, of obscurations. So according to the sort of general level of explanation, we can understand this to mean, please grant your blessings of enlightened body, speech, and mind on my, or to my obscured body, speech, and mind. So flood my body, speech, and mind with your blessings of enlightened body, speech, and mind. So grant your blessings, that's what we're requesting, but then we have two. So two meaning in order to do that, for that reason, then come, meaning like welcome, it's an invitation.
In that Guru Guru Lama Lama Guru Lama yoga, Lama Lama Guru stuff. Guru. Pemas and Guru Rinpoche Center. That is rigor, Guru Rinpoche Pemi, not a Pemi. Cities Mutu shopping Mutus, Sanji Command, Tumungu Mutus against that. Junjo, Moshi, and Kanjo, and Patti, Tumungu, Jeta, and Shiva, Kiwa, on Tapolas, Mutu. Cities, Hung Shabani, Sol Shik Cemetery, number of Shik Cemetery, Hung Second, Tuto, Kulu, so, complete
Then we have we pray, and actually what Rinpoche said about how we supplicate, how we pray, that was an explanation of this, these last two words, we pray. Finally, we have Guru Padma Siddhi Hum, so the Guru Rinpoche's mantra, which is actually a condensation of all of the above meaning. The word mantra or mantras themselves actually hold so much meaning, and there's so much to say about that. The word mantra means to protect the mind or guard the mind. That's what a mantra is, what a mantra does. In the Guhyagarbha Tantra, the meaning of mantra is explained in great detail and profundity, but we won't get into that now. So let's go through this mantra. So Guru, the first word, is referring to Guru Rinpoche's name. Guru means Lama. Lama means unsurpassable, unmatched. How is the Guru unmatched? Because the Guru is unmatched in the sense that there is no one greater, nothing greater than the Guru in terms of enlightened qualities, kindness, or blessing. Therefore, the Guru is unmatched or unsurpassable. Padma means lotus, so this is also Guru Rinpoche's name. It also refers to his family, because he belongs to the lotus Buddha family of the Western realm. Then we have Siddhi. Siddhi means accomplishment. We talk about the supreme accomplishment, the supreme Siddhi of enlightenment, perfect enlightenment, and the common Siddhis, which refers to the 8 worldly abilities like speed walking and so on, and then the 4 activities of pacifying, increasing, and so on. Then we have Hum. Hum here means please bestow. It's like an invocation to Guru Rinpoche's wisdom mind. Please bestow. Hung is also the seed syllable of Guru Rinpoche's wisdom mind. So all of this explanation was according to the outer level. We could also explain the prayer according to the inner and secret levels. So there's also a way to explain this prayer according to the generation and completion stages. So that would be on the inner level, and on the secret level we can explain it according to Trekchö and Tögal. There are inconceivable benefits to reciting the seven-line prayer. Even if you can't recite it much, if you can just accumulate 100,000 recitations, that's extremely beneficial, so much blessing. And if you can, to recite like 10 or 20, 100,000. The seven-line prayer has really unique, special blessings. If we light a stick of incense, if we light some incense and a lamp in offering, and we recite the seven-line prayer 3 times, it is literally impossible for Guru Rinpoche not to come in response. Also, especially if we recite this prayer on special days like the 10th day, Guru Rinpoche Day, Guru Rinpoche himself has made a promise, he himself has pledged to come on those days when called. So Guru Rinpoche will come. This being the case, it's really important that we have faith and devotion. It's said that when Guru Rinpoche comes, a sign of Guru Rinpoche coming is that our perception will change upon Guru Rinpoche's arrival. Physically, our body will feel kind of like goosebumps, that kind of thing, and our mind will just become extremely clear, inspired, lucid. These are signs, the great masters say, of Guru Rinpoche's arrival. I've done a lot of study in my adult years, a lot of study, and kind of been a bit ruined by all of that study and intellectual activity. But actually when I was younger, before I began my formal studies, we would do puja and pray to Guru. Part of the puja was praying to Guru Rinpoche using the seven-line prayer, and we chant it with a very beautiful melody, a melody special to our Namkha Kyungsong tradition. You heard Rinpoche chant that melody, right? And while chanting that slowly, the ritual master would wave incense and wave incense and sort of physically invite Guru Rinpoche. And even as a child, when doing those pujas, I remember when we'd invite Guru Rinpoche like that, I didn't know anything at the time, hadn't started my formal education, but I would just feel, my experience would just be transformed, would change in those moments. My body would feel kind of unusually calm and at ease, and my mind would just become very lucid and inspired. It was pretty wonderful. Later on, when I studied, and read the instructions and texts that talk about these sorts of things happening as signs of Guru Rinpoche's presence, then I can think back and think, oh right, that must have been what was happening. Guru Rinpoche must have been really there when we were doing that. But that said, as I've done a lot of study and intellectual study, then I've become kind of more less sensitive and a bit ruined. I'm just getting worse in a sense. I was better when I was younger. In that way, seems it's sometimes better when you're not learned. When people become very learned, then they also become very kind of spoiled and a bit ruined. When people aren't very learned, then they can give rise to really pure, beautiful faith. When you have faith, then Guru Rinpoche's blessings will enter you. It doesn't matter who you are, how learned you are or not, how high or low you are. Guru Rinpoche's blessings will enter you. In the Nyingma tradition, no matter what ritual, no matter what liturgy you chant, that's Guru Rinpoche, the 7 lines prayer to Guru Rinpoche will always be chanted at the beginning. And I chant it myself as well, always, every day. So I'm going to stop the teaching here. Let's dedicate the merit. That was the oral transmission for the instructions for Chugyo, which some people requested.